What I want to put down in my plays and into the theatre is to see people who are Cornish. Often you hear Cornish people as stupid people, or who've got a funny accent, or but for me, the main thing is just to write people, Cornish people, as if they're, some of them are stupid, some of them are clever. Do you see what I'm getting? I think it's very important that people from Cornwall should know that there's somebody there who's making plays about them. The first real play that I wrote was called Never Say Rubbers in a Boat, and it was about a load of people on the beach here who shot a net. We all had a share in it, and it was one summer, very drunken summer, when we were going around shooting this net and spending most of the time in the pub. Occasionally we'd say, "Oh, let's go and shoot the net," and at the end of the season, I had no money, and I thought I'd better write this play, and I wrote the play, and it was put on, and a lot of people saw it, and a lot of people in the theatre companies said, "Oh, write a play for us." For nearly 25 years now, I've been writing plays full time. That's how I make a living. I had my first boat when I was 10. I caught my first lobster when I was 10. I've always been fishing. I think living in this house right by the beach, it's fairly obvious that I was going to be fishing. My father did a lot of fishing. He was a farmer, but he always had a boat. The local farmers around here, they all have a big, the seine net, they're called, a beach seine net, and you just shoot it out of a boat. One net company would have a couple of beaches. Our company will have a couple of beaches, and then and they, do you see what I mean? It'd be a big occasion. But that's all gone now. That's which is a shame, because. But then so's the fish. I actually don't see the fishing as something less important, because I don't make any money out of it. In fact, it's quite the opposite. We eat very well. That's really important. We eat pure fish.
One day's fishing with a hand line and I'm bloody knackered. Can't afford to buy a house of my own because I'm all on the market for retired bloody bank managers. Look at these houses along this cliff here. Empty. This is the only house along this cliff now that's got a light on at night. 6 weeks. That's how long the houses are lived in for. 20 odd houses along that cliff and not one of them owned or lived in by a Cornishman. Why? Because he can't afford the bugger. Can't even afford the land to building on. The Cornish chuff used to build his nest on that cliff. Now he's gone. Extinct. The emblem of Cornwall. Extinct.
Most of the people who live here now go to the beach in order to run their dogs. And once the dog has had a crap, they get off the beach. And that's all the beach means to them. Or some of them look at it and think that it looks nice. Whereas, in the old days, people would look at the beach as something which would help you to live, which I think is really important, but it's being lost.
Been like that for thousands of years. Those men who lived up Vuggerall, in the cave, up the valley, the prehistoric men, they used it. They lived it. Then the farmers come along and farmed it with their bare hands. No combines, no tractors. Then the miners come and dug it with their bare hands. Picks, not drills. Then the fishermen come along and fished it. Like you say, no echo sounders. Then along come the trippers. Amen. The emmets. Amen. Amen, said the goose. They look at it. That place isn't there to be looked at. They sit on it, put their tents up on it, drive their damn caravans all over it. And the Cornishman don't care, 'cause he's had enough of it.
In the evening, you always have to wait until the net has been covered, because dogs get in the way and people, and several times I've come back to where the net is and somebody picked it up and taken it away thinking it has come in. how they can imagine that a net which is in a dead straight line with an anchor at each end and one in the middle, kind of, because the sea would have just dumped it there like that. But they think they believe that, but of course they don't. They take it. So you have to be there, really, because of the people. The best time for me is when there's no footprints on the beach, when I'm the first person on the beach, and my footprints are the only ones, me and a fox, and they're the only ones in the morning, and that is just magic.
'Tis hunting. Fishing is hunting. You got to do it exactly the rights. You got to taste the blood of it. Got to have the instinct for it. You should know every inch of that beach. You should be able to shoot that net blindfold, boy. Blindfold. Never let the night time worry ye. You got to overcome the night. Push aside the darkness. Know your water. We didn't need no light to shoot the net by, boy. We'd shoot the net when the moon was thin as a fingernail, black as pitch, and every man knowed where his foot would fall next. We'd strut about that beach in the dark like horses on the moor.
The great thing about living here is that you actually don't catch very many fish, so I couldn't make a living out of it. I could if I did all that I did, and I got more nets and doing more in that, but I don't like taking a lot of fish. This time of year, I've got lobsters coming out of my ears, and so often I'll sell them if there are too many. Usually I'll try to sell enough lobsters which will keep me in gear for the fishing. Having said that, most of what I use in terms of gear I find on the beach, particularly with lobster gear. So I haven't got a great outlay in terms of the fishing, which is excellent. 10 months ago, I had quite a big stroke, which left me unable to read or write, or, as you notice, to speak very well. And cut to 2 weeks later, everything has to come to, all things have to come to an end. But it's stopping me to work. I haven't worked for nearly a year now in terms of really getting down to it and working in the way that I used to. The thing that I can do the best, although I can read and write, but what I can do the best is to speak. So the obvious thing to do is to speak, get somebody else to write it, but it's actually quite difficult. People picking up, packing, that's it, good proof. I'm having to rework how to basically a completely new technique of writing. Bloody difficult. And really going at him. And that's when he dislocates his shoulder, put that down. But the main thing is that I can still fish, although I can't feel anything on this side at all. But I'm bloody lucky really, because I can walk and do most of the things, and a lot of people can't do that. Very good friend who died recently, who was a fisherman in Padstow all his life, and his father before him, and he was a cox of the lifeboat, and he said to me one day, he said, "Get away," he said, you're a fisherman. He said, I felt about 10 feet tall because he had actually told me that I was a fisherman, and if he said it then that was okay. I would pass the test.